Today I'd like to share with you some tips on how I decide what I'm going to paint next. If you're about to start a landscape painting from a photograph, then here are some helpful things to keep in mind. My first tip is perhaps my favorite tip, and that is that we paint best when we paint what we love. So choose a scene that matters to you. Choose something that stirs some emotion within you. I feel like we add so much as painters when we can express ourselves and express our feelings through each brush stroke. The art of painting is really about a lot more than just creating pretty scenes on canvas. It's about self-expression and communication. So have something to communicate, have some feelings to express, and that will make your painting the best that it can be. Personally, I like to work from photos that I've taken while traveling. I feel like it adds some genuine emotion and authenticity to my compositions when I know firsthand what it was like to be in that location at that specific time. I try to capture all that feeling in each brush stroke and communicate that in my painting. So if it's an option, consider working from a photo that you yourself have taken. If not, it's still possible to choose a photo that you find online or in a magazine, maybe on a calendar. Those are often places where we see beautiful scenes, but I would encourage you, even if you choose to start with somebody else's photograph as kind of your source of inspiration for your art, still choose something that reminds you of an actual experience or stirs some actual emotion. If you're new to painting, I'd suggest looking for a composition that contains 4 to 5 main colors. While it's true that some artists have successfully painted scenes that only have 2 or 3 main colors, like it's almost all green or it's almost all white, that can pose an extra challenge for the beginner because the emphasis then really becomes on value, which is the lightness or darkness of a color. And so if you're a beginning painter, I would suggest choosing something that's maybe a little simpler to express, and extra colors will help you do that. I also suggest choosing a scene that contains multiple layers of depth. That means choosing something that has some elements in the foreground or the front of the painting, some elements that are going to be in the middle ground, and some things that are going to be far off in the distance. That kind of helps create some distinction between the different layers and add some general interest to the scene. I also like to choose compositions that are part of a greater context. And what I mean by that is choosing a scene that has elements that extend beyond the edge of the canvas, or some that come in from the outside, like maybe a tree branch from a tree that we can't fully see. Something like a mountain that reaches beyond the edge, or a house where we see part of the house in the scene, but then part of it we have to imagine. It gives the viewer something to be curious about, and it helps just add some visual interest. It's good to help the viewer imagine more about the surroundings than what you painted. And now a word of caution. Once you think you've chosen a photo to work from, really study it. Make sure you understand everything that's in the scene. I've seen too many students get knee-deep in the process of working on a painting only to discover that there's a significant piece of the scene and that they have no idea what it actually is. Is it a wall? Is it a building? Is it some kind of rock? It makes a difference when we know what it is that we're painting. We're not just trying to copy shapes and colors. We're trying to express the scene. So you need to know what the scene is before you start painting it. I always tell my students that if you don't know what you're painting, the viewer isn't going to know what they're looking at, and that won't add any visual value to your final painting. I truly believe that you can paint any scene that you set your mind to. Some scenes, though, might just require a little more patience and a little more time, or a lot more patience and a lot more time. However much you'd like to invest in it is completely up to you. So I believe you'll do whatever you're motivated to. However, if you're a complete beginner and you're looking to do something that's a little on the simpler side, consider choosing primarily a nature scene, something with an emphasis on trees, grass, sky, maybe water or mountains or hills. Those things have great variety in the natural world, and so they can have great variety on your canvas, and you might find them simpler. Including a simple structure or building is fine and can add great interest to your painting. But if you're a total beginner and you'd like to take it slow, maybe avoid choosing something with a lot of very elaborate architectural details or something that's painted from a really unusual perspective. If you have any more tips or tricks or even just questions about how to select a composition to paint, then feel free to drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.